Hi, we just completed a heart sound recorder on a 40-year-old male. And here's his chart. You can see that we've run it. I made a printout of it that we want to analyze and take a look at. I just want to point out a couple of things that we see here. If I look at this part of the curve, this particular thing is the S1 signal, and this particular part here is the S2. So that's the lub-dub part of that. So when I look at that, I can see what we call a split right here. What we'd like to see, ideally, a chart would look like this. You've got three strong peaks all together, okay? Nice and quiet. But what I'm seeing here is in the middle of that third peak is dropped. So this is what I would call an S1 split. So that's a particular finding on that. Another thing we see on this curve is right after this, there's this tooth here. It's called a disturbance after closing. We also see it here. Here's the S1 on the tricuspid valve, and you can see that disturbance keeps showing up. So disturbance after closing. And we see that on a number of things. We see it some on the aortic and some on the pulmonic. So it's a pretty consistent finding in all of the valves. And what we shouldn't see anything. It should be fairly quiet and should drop right off to a flat line. And here we see that tooth forming in here for a disturbance after closing. Both of these, the fact that the split is there and the disturbance after closing, the primary supplement that we use for that is Cataplex B Core. And it's a B vitamin. And it's a natural B vitamin. So you couldn't just run down to your local drugstore and buy your synthetic off-the-shelf B vitamin complex. It's not going to have the B4 piece that the heart needs to pull together and tighten up and tone up and help clear these signals up. So with the Cataplex B Core added to their supplement regimen, we should see it move much closer to these kinds of marks where we see a nice strong peak associated with that. Something a little closer to this in that mitral valve and some of this. Well, what we're looking for in their overall health is a good strong contraction. This basically shows that the heart is all moving together when we see this particular kind of thing. So what we see is the heart is two parts. There's a left ventricle and a right ventricle. They're not together. They're really one wraps around the other. But with the split, what we're seeing is they're not working together. What we ideally want is both sides to contract at the same time, all together at once. But with a split, what we see is a little bit of a 1-2. That's exaggerated. We're talking milliseconds here. But we do see that the heart is not all moving together as one thing. And over time, that ends up causing problems in heart flow, and you can get pooling in different parts of the different vessels, potential things like blood clots, and those kinds of things could be in the future. So this will help us really get the heart toned up, working well, blood flowing efficiently and effectively.